Richie B here, and welcome back to Hidden Gems. Today I'm going to be talking about a movie called To Gillian on Her 37th Birthday. That's right. In fact, I have the DVD right here. I hope you can see it, and there's not too much glare. It stars Peter Gallagher, Michelle Pfeiffer, Claire Danes. It has a very young Freddie Prinze Jr. And, well, let's just go over it. Let's just go over this. It was written by David E. Kelley, and he wrote Ally McBeal, he wrote Boston Legal, and I think created both those. He worked on L.A. Law as a writer, and also created The Practice, and he did this really wonderful movie called From the Hip with Judd Nelson. Now, this is a movie that I will probably be going over on Hidden Gems. I really like Judd Nelson. After The Breakfast Club, I don't think his career went quite as well as I thought it would. But he has that something, those, actors have that thing. Well, Judd Nelson, whatever it is, he has it. Okay, and now he also wrote Lake Placid, and he wrote Mystery Alaska, two favorites of mine. Now, it stars Peter Gallagher, this movie, and he was in a hidden gem called The Idolmaker. Now, The Idolmaker is my favorite Peter Gallagher movie. It is a hidden gem, and be expecting that one to come up sometime in the future. But he was also probably better known as the other brother in While You Were Sleeping. That's right, he was the brother that was sleeping. Okay, this movie is just an interesting movie. It could have gone, too quirky, or it could have gone the other way and been too dark. The writer, David E. Kelley, and whoever directed this, and the director, they did a really wonderful job when it came to balance. Let's just start the first scene. As you can see, they're showing the setting. It's at the beach, and we'll find out later on it's on an island. There's Peter Gallagher right there.
I got you! You better run! Yeah, I got you now! Come on! Gillian! What? What? Do it again!
That was the first scene. Now, if you're a writer, you have to understand how important the first scene is. It sets up everything. In fact, a lot of times a writer will have a reflection between the opening scene and the closing scene. This scene sets up everything. This scene was so important because what you see is Peter Gallagher, and he's him and his wife are being playful, Michelle Pfeiffer. And then you cut back and you realize Michelle Pfeiffer isn't actually there. You might not realize it now. I mean, if you're observant, you did. Or it might be later on in the movie where you think back to the scene, but it's in his imagination. He can't let go. He so loved his wife. It's the 2-year anniversary of his wife coming up. Why it's called Gillian on her 37th birthday. And it's been 2 years, and he can't let go. And so in his mind, he still imagines that she's there. He has conversations with her. He plays with her, on the beach like this. And then it pulls back a little bit more. And you see his daughter, Rachel, played by the wonderful Claire Danes. And she's sad. In fact, unfortunately, this is an older movie, so it's kind of grainy, but she's actually crying. And you see, it comes, his love for his wife and his not being able to let go. It comes at the expense of his daughter, who is alive. He's busy in his imagination, but he sort of, he's so busy with his dead wife that he isn't spending enough time or paying enough attention to his live daughter, who needs somebody, who lost a mother and misses his mom misses her mom just as bad as he misses his wife. And that is all set up in this very opening scene. And David E. Kelley is just an amazing writer. Okay, we're going to move on to the next scene. And the next scene, it sets up that the Peter Gallagher's character has some issues. This movie, like I said, could be too quirky. I mean, what's wrong with a guy who loves his wife so much? He can't let go after he's dead. Well, he has issues, and we're going to see that. We're also going to introduce to the kind of slightly crazy best friend of Claire Danes. By the way, this is the song "Some Kind of Wonderful" by Three Dog Night, or their version of the song.
I don't need a big fine car. I got everything that a man could want. I got more than I could ask for.
Daddy, could you just turn it down just a little?
I don't have to run around. I don't have to stay out all night.
Daddy, can you just turn it down? Exactly. I've been getting this all summer. You have to stay on the island. How many times did you say that? I've been back 3 days. So I'm insecure. You spent the whole summer away. School starts in 2 weeks. I gotta know whether I should be shopping around for a new best friend. And Mr. Wacko up there is your father.
Hey!
Here we go.
Son of a bitch!
Daddy, you're in the wrong lane. Daddy, this really is not smart. I'm telling you, he's crazy.
Would you pull over, please? What? Hello? Hello? I'm over here. I'd like to talk to you for a minute. Hey, this is a two-way street. What the hell's the matter with you? Pull over!
Daddy!
You had to yield. What's your problem? My problem is you didn't yield. You saw the sign and you... What does it say? What is it?
In
You
the
see
car
the sign?
now.
I was ahead of you. Ahead of me. Ahead of me. He said he was ahead of me.
You're
crazy.
What's
I'm not
wrong with
crazy. You saw that sign that said yield. What
Just
is
get
it?
in the
You were
car.
not ahead of
In the
me.
car. I'm sorry. It's just...
Rachel, we're late for Esther and Paul.
Sorry. You're right. He didn't yield.
He didn't.
There we go. Okay, so as we can see, he's a little off kilter. The death of his wife has affected him more than just talking to her and on the beach. That he has some issues. It also sets up a little romance between the Claire Danes. It's the setup of the romance between her and the Freddie Prinze Jr. character, which does kind of take off as the movie goes. It's not what the movie's about, but it's there, and it's kind of the dad doesn't like it, of course. Okay, so let's keep watching.
Come on. Who's gonna be brave, huh? Go ahead, don't be shy.
Paul, come on, you gotta try this. They say there's something spiritual about feeding them in flight, do they?
I tried it. One of them bit me in flight. Don't believe them.
Stop. Come on.
Everybody
Come
pulled
here.
the muscle.
Here we go. Here, birds.
No dinner, no TV.
See if they take it.
Here you go.
Oh, great, thank you.
You tell her yet?
Hey, what scared the birds away?
It's just the sound of your voice, Esther. You know, what are they, skittish or intuitive?
Tell me what.
The complete truth. He was supposed to fill you in as soon as we left port, but obviously he hasn't. Those birds are rabid.
What? What complete truth?
Well, you know, David's wife, it happened,
But the boating accident.
Gillian, where you going? Esther, would you please translate for me?
She never listens to me.
Come on, Gillian, not funny. Get down. Gillian, come on.
It's my birthday. Let me have some fun.
It's your 35th birthday. Grown-ups shouldn't be having fun. Tell your mother grown-ups don't scale things.
Grown-ups don't scale things. Tell your father he's not my father. He's supposed to be my fun-loving husband. It's incredible. Mommy, please.
Paul, could you get her down?
sure, as soon as I unclench my fingers.
Mom! I'm almost there! Mom, you're scaring me. Woohoo! This is so great! You can come down now.
All right, she'll try again. She'll listen to you.
Mom!
Tomorrow.
So as you can see, wow, what a bad way if you're a husband or a daughter or a sister, brother, brother-in-law, to die right in front of them like that. It was so this movie, you know, again, it does tug at your heartstrings. So anyway, let's watch this, because this is really the continuation of their story. The movie wanted to show how she died, but this is what.
Tomorrow is her birthday. This is 2 years to the very day.
We didn't
of
even
this.
think of it
We
2
really-
days ago.
we didn't.
And then we were afraid that you might back out.
Well, yeah.
You are fixing me up with a man on the weekend anniversary of his wife's death, which also happens to be her birthday. I absolutely would have backed out.
See, she's upset now.
Thank you.
What do you expect me? I mean, so how could he have agreed to this, for God's sake?
Well,
Oh my God.
Well, what? Oh my God, what? You mean there's more?
he doesn't exactly know that you're coming.
He doesn't know I'm coming?
I mean, he does know in a way because he knows that we're always trying to fix him up. He doesn't know we are bringing someone on this particular trip. But I'm sure that we'll all laugh about it over dinner. It's okay. Don't worry, it'll be fun. We're already having fun. This is great.
Easy now. There you go. I got it. Sit down. There you go.
His brother and sister-in-law are terrible, bringing this lady along.
Doesn't seem to be arriving.
I see them. There they are.
Hey, Paul! Good to see you.
And Esther! Hi! Hi!
Hey, you look
Oh, sweetie, oh, look at you. Oh, 3 days away from me already, you look different.
No, I don't.
Hey, muscles.
Hey!
Whoa.
Cerebellum. New tube?
Nah, it's the old two.
Hi, sweetie.
Listen, if we hustle, we can beat the traffic. Is this all the luggage?
Hi.
Hi? What do you mean, hi? Who are you?
I'm leaving, that's who.
No. David, meet.
I looked it up on IMDb, and her name's Wendy Crewson, the actress that plays. He said her name was Kevin for some reason. Now seems like an odd name for a girl. But anyway, the character is very important to this movie. A good writer will bring an outsider in movies where a lot of the story takes place before the opening scene. These characters have history together, and there's been a 2-year gap between when Michelle Pfeiffer's character dies on that boat, which we saw, and the events going on here. And so we're sort of starting in the middle of this story. There's been stuff that's going on behind the scenes that we don't know about, and then there's just history behind these characters. And so adding a new character, adding an outsider, allows a writer to do exposition, which is basically telling the audience stuff that the characters should already know, but doing it in such a way that it doesn't seem forced, because the outsider wouldn't know these things. So they can say, oh yeah, 2 years ago this happened, or and they can explain things to her. But really what they're doing is they're explaining things to the audience, because the audience needs to know. And it's just something writers will do when a story is kind of started in the middle, or if there's a lot of backstory that needs explained. Sometimes you'll see this if there's a story where there's a brand new world, like it takes place in a fantasy world, or it takes place in the future, and they'll introduce somebody that's not from the future or from that world, so that they can tell that character all the stuff that the audience needs to know about that world. So that's what this character represents. She kind of represents us, our naive introduction to these characters. All right, let's move on to the next scene. And
Okay, here we are. Everybody gets to pick their own room. First come, first serve.
Here! Smell that island and...
Enough with the air, Esther.
Could I speak with you a moment alone, please?
Sure. Excellent. Oh, yeah. Hey, I gotta pee.
You know, I'd like to hear this.
Forget it.
I got the bathroom, everybody.
Hey, you may want to... Paul and Esther, they will grab the best room.
Look, I am very sorry. I had no idea that this was the anniversary of your wife's...
Oh, don't,
No,
please.
well, and I had no idea that you knew nothing about my coming. I am quite prepared to leave. I don't know how they could possibly think that this...
You're here. Hey, tomorrow we got a big sandcastle competition at Jetty's Beach. I'm excellent at castles. I do the whole bit. Pillars, balconies, columns.
Moats?
What have they been telling you?
They're acting friendly.
Come on, he was angry. This is your most gigantic goof ever.
It's for his own good. Not healthy, all this seclusion.
It was his wife, Esther.
She was my sister. But life goes on.
Again with the
If he
psychology.
refuses to recognize that, maybe we should have Rachel live with us permanently.
No.
She only gets to be 16
She only gets to be
once.
16 once. I've
She'll
heard it.
never get this
We are
year
here
back.
to
It's
enjoy
her
a nice,
junior
restful
year.
weekend.
She's got college,
We're here to have
SATs, not to
fun.
mention
Plus,
socially.
you'll always be your complete and total self. What?
That's 2. I'm writing down 2.
those two scenes that we just watched are also very well done. Peter Gallagher's character, David, we've seen him slightly crazy, talking to his dead wife. And we've also seen him get a little bit unhinged, out of a simple, somebody cuts him off and he gets overly unhinged about that. I mean, but what we got to see here in the first part of the scene was him being nice. He doesn't want a setup here. I mean, he doesn't. But she's here, and she's a fish out of water. And we are watching a fish out of water as well. And so he kind of comforts her a little bit, kind of welcomes her, and I think that was a really nice thing, and I think it was very important for his character at this point in the movie, because otherwise, at this point he could come across a little too harsh, or crazy. So having him do something nice for this character, played by Wendy Crewson. Okay, and then the second half, whoo, we're starting to get some hints of where the conflict comes from. There's a adage: "It's story is conflict." If you don't have conflict, you don't have a story. And up till now, we sort of had a situation, but what we heard, the brother-in-law Paul and Esther, the sister-in-law, is the hints of the conflict that will come. It's not there yet. This movie builds, but let's go on to the next scene. Two parts of a good scene we just watched, and let's go to the next one.
He was out there every night. Thursday, he was out all night.
Doing what?
Staring at the ocean, I guess. Is it like a sickness? In your psychology classes, do they have a name for this kind of behavior?
Oh, yes, he's nuts. He will be all right. It's just... he really loved her.
He's not the only one.
I know.
Okay. This was that scene we just watched was important because it shows Esther, her heart's in the right place. The scene before this, we saw that she has a bit of a mean streak to her. She can be a little bit, a little bit. But right here we see, though, she really feels like she's doing the right thing, and she cares about her niece, her sister's daughter, but played by Claire Danes. And so it does humanize her a little bit, because in a lesser writer's hands, she would simply be the bad guy, the antagonist of the movie. In this movie, she's portrayed as somebody who has opposing goals, and we'll come to that in a couple scenes. She has opposing goals to the Peter Gallagher character, but her heart's in the right place. So I think this was an important scene. The other reason it's important because the Claire Danes character got to express out loud with her voice what she's feeling about her dad kind of not being all there. And we saw a little bit when she's just staring after, at the first scene at the beach, where we saw Peter Gallagher talking with Michelle Pfeiffer, and it's in his imagination, and then she's kind of crying. Well, now we get to see what's in her mind, because she gets to confide in her aunt what she's feeling inside. So that was very important for the daughter, Rachel. It was important for us the audience to hear what she's feeling. And a lot of times in movies, you do have to state things out loud. You can let some of it stay in people's minds, and you can you don't want to be too on the nose, which means, if somebody's hungry, they say, I'm hungry. If somebody's angry, I'm angry. That's being on the nose. But at the same time, things like goals or in a situation like this, you do need them to state things out loud. Okay, let's watch this short little scene.
Hey. You're probably beginning to notice I never leave.
Why is that?
I live next door. Parents are away. I'm orphaned here for the weekend.
Oh.
You know about this weekend?
Oh, yes. It's, an anniversary.
Not just that. It's the anniversary. Dress-up dinner, castle building, karaoke. Gillian started it. You know, they choose stupid songs you'd never admit to liking.
They what?
Laudberry Manilow. Weekend tradition. This is the Gillian weekend.
Oh, yeah.
So they're just digging her character in deeper. So, you know, not only is it the anniversary of her death, not only is it her birthday, she would have been 37, this is the Gillian weekend. And this is the weekend that the brother-in-law and sister-in-law decide to bring her along as a setup. So I just like that. The writer is cruel to this character. You know, it's kind of cool. Sometimes you have to, if you're a writer, you have to be a little bit cruel sometimes. I always thought the Frasier writers were deep down psychopaths, because they would put Frasier and his brother in the worst situations. Like, how can we torture Frasier to this episode, you know? But you got to have that little bit to you as a writer. You got to kind of want to dig a hole, then shove your characters in that hole. Then after you shove the characters in the hole, you want to start burying them in the sand, you know, a little bit. This scene, we're right in the middle of a scene. It's they're arguing. It's right in the middle of a big argument. This scene is it. This is the movie right here. This is going to be the movie. So let's just watch.
Come on in. Wreck my life. It's only mine.
Too much has been 2 years. Listen to yourselves. Can't we once not do this? One time?
Maybe you're not a happy person, Esther. I don't know.
Or care.
But whether or not you're happy, do you have to spoil our dinner? Does it bring you relief?
My concern is for Rachel. My unhappiness
Honey,
is about the fact
sugar.
that she stopped calling me food. This is not a stable home. She's living with a single parent who's an unemployed recluse who does nothing but plan Corinthian sand columns.
You can talk to me about a lot of things, Esther, but parenting isn't one of them. You don't know the first thing about being a parent.
Well, then maybe it's time that I found out. Maybe Rachel should come and live with us full time.
Rachel. Do you want to live with Esther and Paul?
No.
Well, there you go. End of issue.
And that's the movie right there. Peter Gallagher can't let go of his wife, even though she's dead. He loved her so much, but it comes at the expense of his daughter. And his sister-in-law sees that his daughter's hurting and decides for her own good that she needs to come stay with them. And basically, she's going to take his daughter away from him. And her motivation is the daughter, and the daughter is caught in the middle. And so what the movie is about, and why that scene is the movie, is basically Peter Gallagher has to decide between whether he's going to continue to have this relationship with his dead wife at the expense of his daughter, or if he's going to choose his daughter and step up to the plate, and because if he doesn't, he's going to lose her. And that's the conflict of the story. And again, the writer does a good job, because he makes sure not to necessarily show Esther, the sister-in-law, simply as the bad guy of the film, nor does he show Peter Gallagher's character as totally uncaring. He has his reasons for doing this. Okay, so that's the movie, and there's one more scene. It's a little funny scene. I thought I'd end with a slightly humorous scene, and then we will be calling it. So let's watch this final little scene.
What are you looking at?
An act of God. 2 acts. Turn around, you sweet things.
Look at that.
Junior mints. Oops.
Rachel! Rachel!
Oh, hi, Daddy.
Never mind. Hi, Daddy. You're practically naked nude. I'm making you decent.
I'm wearing a bathing suit.
Boys, go away. Please leave the premises.
You!
And that's it. I just wanted to leave on that little bit of humorous scene. There was actually a scene like that in Buffy the Vampire Slayer as well, where Xander and Willow are I think they're at the Bronze, and Willow has already come out by this time, and there's this girl dancing really sexy, and they're kind of staring at her, and she turns around and it's Dawn, and Buffy's little sister, and they're like, ooh, and Xander's like, oh no. And Willow's like, yeah, I'm right there with you. So anyway, I just wanted to leave with a funny little scene. There is actually quite a few funny scenes. I didn't add a ton of them because I really wanted to get to the meat of the movie. And if you liked what you saw here, there's another whole 2/3 of the movie left. Really, this sets up the movie, but the movie is about what happens next. So. It's a wonderful movie. It's called To Gillian on her 37th birthday. It is a hidden gem. Everybody should see it. It's a good movie. And I will see you next time. I have more movies in mind to do with this. And until I see you next time, have a blessed day.